Over a week ago, I finished reading Jeffrey Eugenides' The Marriage Plot. The book tells a fantastic tale of these three college undergraduates, freshly minted, who are trying to figure out their lives a year after commencement. Eugenides, if you didn't already know, also wrote The Virgin Suicides, which Sofia Coppola turned into a major motion picture starring Kirsten Dunst, if you didn't already know that either. I read this one in class this semester, and so I was so in love with Eugenides' writing and Eugenides as a word for the possessive form of his name that I had to pick up The Marriage Plot. Also, just the beautiful cover art drew me in as well. I saw what Madeline and Mitchell and Leonard did after they graduated, and I began to think, hey, I could totally just write essays for the rest of my life. Because I've been mulling this idea in my head for over a week. Last week I asked Twitter what it thought were the pros and cons of having a life dedicated to academia. Elio said one pro is that a person would be a pro at something, but a con is all of the costs associated with degrees. Peter said you'd have a lot of knowledge but not enough applied knowledge, which he said in all caps, so that kind of shows some significance. Michelle simply said you'd feel smart and you'd feel nauseous simultaneously. And Phil, he said that a pro would be ideally you'd be contributing to a body of knowledge for which you care deeply, and that not that many folks get paid to think. Phil's last statement is very indicative of that anti-liberal arts college mentality. It raises questions like, should people get paid to think? And why aren't there enough people making an actual difference instead of all of these people contemplating these tangible differences? For this discussion to be fair and maybe even a bit more challenging, I'm going to define academic a bit more liberally than probably expected. To me, an academic is simply someone who researches and has accelerated knowledge in both non-applied and applied fields. Usually those fields can be taught in institutions of higher education. So unfortunately, while someone could know a lot about pesticides, an academic on pesticides would probably be someone who's done extensive research on pesticides and probably is a big name in the pesticide industry. Maybe this person writes for a pesticide trade journal. As you can see, this opens up the possibility of academics in a myriad of fields, and not just the ones you typically expect, like English or linguistics or anthropology, what have you. It's also important for me to extend this to the science professions as well. Individuals who study in fields like psychology and medicine and pharmaceuticals also make up academics. After all, we know that there are doctors who solely perform research and aren't really working in hospitals or in their own private practices. And with this definition of an academic, I just see what these kind of people look like, and then I look in the mirror. Now, I know this is elementary stuff, but close your eyes and form an image of a professor. Now open. The person didn't look like I do, did he? And I said he there because I believe that there's a higher percentage of people who are going to watch this video who will imagine a male when I say professor as opposed to a female. But leaping over that ideological discussion, when I think of becoming an academic and all the paths that could lead me there, I keep asking myself, shouldn't I be doing something, like actually doing something, rather than thinking about the people who have done something? The truth is, our parents didn't send us to our places of tertiary education to become academics. No, they sent us there because of what studies show will get their kids the heck out of the house and into adulthood, the same way that they had to do it, whether they went to college or didn't. And then what I think would be fulfilling, what my pipe dreams reveal I should do, and what I could actually do are all in contradiction to one another. So then I feel stuck in this semicircle of different facets of myself and the literal heart of Jesus asking myself, what should I do with my life? And the only response I get is cliché Ryan saying, live your best life today. Which is fine, I guess, but I know there's going to be this point in my life where I just say YOLO and study for many, many years and become this 5-figure salary professor or hopeless academic, writing essays on dead thinkers that miserable college freshmen have to read. So I've decided that in the meantime, it's best not to ask a person what he or she wants to do with his or her life, no matter what stage of life he or she is in, because opinions, although we pretend they're not, and outlooks of ourselves that pertain to our futures are volatile. And that volatility, although we struggle to convince ourselves that it is not, it's just a normal and magnificent part of the human experience.